Hello everyone, this is the 5th Epical Revelation Fellowship. I'm Reverend Dr. Roger Paul, and today is February 4th, 2015. And tonight we're going to study paper 35, The Local Universe Sons of God. And that starts on page 384, the first paragraph. And dear, would you like to say a prayer? Let me get my breath.
Sure.
To get us started.
Dear Heavenly Father, Mother God, we thank you so much for this day and for our ability to study online the words and the message and all the information of your divine plan and through a revelation, a wonderful revelation. Help us to learn this information well today as we study it, as Roger teaches. And help us to pass on the information to those to whom we need along our way. We just are so grateful in our hearts for everything, so many blessings that you bestowed upon us. And we thank you for being with our loved ones and friends and family members and help each of them deal with issues that they have to deal with appropriately as each one arises. Thank you for your wisdom. It is in the name of Jesus Christ Michael of Nebadon we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Local Universe Sons, which we are a part, right? I hope my clicker works. Maybe not. There it goes. Okay. Millie, would you like to start out reading for us tonight, dear?
Yes, I can do that. Paper 35, The Local Universe Sons of God. The sons of God previously introduced have had a paradise origin. They are the offspring of the divine rulers of the universal domains. Of the first paradise order of sonship, the creator sons, there is in Nebadon only one, Michael, the universe father and sovereign. Of the second order of paradise sonship, the avonal and magisterial sons, Nebadon has its full quota, 1,062. And these lesser Christ are just as effective and all-powerful in their planetary bestowals as was the Creator and Master Son on Urantia. The third order, beings of Trinity origin, are not registered in a local universe, but I estimate that there are in Nebadon between 15 and 20,000 Trinity teacher sons exclusive of 9,642 creature trinitized assistants of record. These paradise Danals are neither magistrates nor administrators. They are super teachers.
Boy, this first paragraph really goes and has a lot in it. First, it brings out the fact that Michael, or Jesus as we know him, is our Father, okay, our local universe Father, right? And that he is also our sovereign. It also mentions here the second order of sonship, the avonals and the magisterial sons, and they call these the lesser Christ. What do you think they call them the lesser Christ? It's because they, like Christ, many times are bestowed on a planet to do the same type of mission that Jesus did on this planet. Now, Jesus will only appear on one planet of 10 million worlds in his universe, and he did that on our planet. But each and every planet in this local the local universe will receive a magisterial son of some order as a bestowal. So that's why they're calling these the lesser Christ. Okay, so they go through a life just like Christ did on this planet, trying to enlighten men that they are sons and daughters of God the Father. Okay, and I think that's pretty important. And the third order, the Trinity origin.
Wait.
Go ahead.
We got Christ Michael.
Right.
And we are the only planet that got Christ Michael, but all the other planets got a lesser Christ.
That's right.
To help them understand what God wants them to do.
That's right.
The avonals or magisterial sons are the same thing on their planets as Christ was on our planet.
That's exactly right. That's
teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry.
each planet gets one, Millie. Every single one, at a certain point. When they get to the point where they're ready for.
How does Nebadon have 1,062?
Well,
1,000.
all this 1,062 all rotate and go to these worlds, Millie. So each one of them has to do at least 7. That's part of their requirement, is they have to do 7 bestowals on planets. So they get around, you know. They will do this 7 times.
They travel outside of Nebadon, outside
No.
of the local universe, just within the local universe.
Just
of
within the
Nebadon?
local universe. Okay.
And just on our planets, but we don't have 1,062 planets.
No, we don't. We'll eventually have 10 million planets. But the suns will all visit, the magisterial suns will all visit this 10 million planets before it's all over with. Now remember, these planets evolve at great distances of time separate apart. So, you know, this magisterial suns, they might do a bestowal on a planet and not do another one for 200, 300,000 years before the next planet is ready for a bestowal sun. Right? Let me add to group. Okay. All right. So on every single planet, eventually gets a magisterial sun, and they also get a Trinity teacher sun, or what does it say here? A creature trinitized assistant of records. Now, what is a creature trinitized assistant of records? Those are mortals who have earned their way up to paradise and have been trinitized, right? And they can go out as teachers also, right? Super teachers, they call them.
But this
Hi, Rodney.
whole thing is just in the local
No,
universe.
And this is just in our local universe.
So every local universe has 1,062 magisterial suns, a bonus, and every local universe has, well, we don't know how many.
We don't know,
creature
15 to
trinity.
20,000
15.
trinitized teacher sons.
Okay.
Right? All right. We're starting out of the first paragraph, Rodney. We just finished it. Okay. So let's keep going. Derek, you want to take the next one?
Okay. The types of suns about to be considered are of local universe origin. They are the offspring of a paradise creator sun in varied association with the complemental universe mother spirit. The following orders of local universe sonship find mention in these. 1. Melchizedek's sons. 2. Veronadek's sons. 3. Lananandek's sons. 4. Life carrier sons.
Okay, so in the previous paragraph, the 3 they talked about were all paradise origin sons, right? The creator sons, the Avonals, and the Danals, right? Those are paradise origin sons. The creator sons are created by God the Father and God the Son, right? The magisterial sons are created by God the Son and the Infinite Spirit. And the Danals, the Trinity teacher sons, are created by the Paradise Trinity, all 3 of them. Okay? That's the original sons of God, paradise sons of God. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the next order of sonship, which is the sonships of the local universe, right? These are no longer paradise sons. They are the offspring of the paradise creator son, right? Which is Michael, and the universe mother spirit. And that paradise creator son is named Michael, and we know him as Jesus of Nazareth. Okay? And we're going to talk about each one of these. Okay, this is a picture of the orders of sonship, starting out with the Melchizedek sons at the top. Then comes the Lananandek sons and the Veronadek sons, and finally the life carrier. Now, the Melchizedek sons are all originate from Michael and the universe mother spirit and Father Melchizedek, which is the very first Melchizedek ever created. All sons after that come from the combination of the 3 of them. Okay? The Lananandek sons, the Veronadek sons, are both offspring of just the universal mother spirit and Christ Michael. Right? The life carriers are the offspring of the universal Mother Spirit, Christ Michael, and one of the Ancients of Days. Okay? That gives you the origin to all these sons. Okay. Triune paradise deity functions for the creation of three orders of sonship: the Michaels, the Avonals, and the Danos. Dual deity in the local universe, the Son and the Spirit, also functions in the creation of three high orders of sons: the Melchizedeks, the Verandadeks, and the Lenonandeks. And having achieved this threefold expression, they collaborate with the next level of God the Sevenfold in the production of versatile order of life carriers. Right? These beings are classified with the descending sons of God, but they are a unique and original form of universe life. Their consideration will occupy the whole of the paper. Okay, well, the whole paper dedicated to the life carriers. Okay, now another thing I want to bring up here. The paradise deity orders of sonship are a creation of the three orders, the triunity of the deities, right? They're created by three beings normally, even though two and 3 are the combinations. One by God the Father, God the Son, one by God the Son, God the Infinite Spirit, and one by the Trinity. But they're considered triune origin beings. Okay, dual deity origin beings are called that because it's a combination of Christ Michael and the Universe Mother Spirit. Okay, the highest forms of deity in our local universe. And I want to bring that, even though Father Melchizedek contributes to the Melchizedeks and the Ancients of Days contribute to the life carriers. Okay, they're still considered dual origin beings because they come from a deity of dual origin. Okay, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Okay, number 1, Father Melchizedek. After bringing into existence the beings of personal aid, such as the bright and morning star, and other administrative personalities, in accordance with the divine purpose and creative plans of a given universe, there occurs a new form of creative union between the Creator Son and the Creative Spirit, the local universe daughter of the Infinite Spirit. The personality offspring resulting from this creative partnership is the original Melchizedek, the Father Melchizedek. That unique being who subsequently collaborates with the Creator Son and the Creative Spirit to bring into existence the entire group of that name.
So the first Melchizedek contributes or collaborates with the Creator Son and the Creative Mother Spirit to create the whole order of Melchizedeks. And because of that, they're also self-governed. Okay? We're going to find that out a little bit later tonight.
So every single Melchizedek comes from that.
From that, that's right. It sure does. And this is a picture of the Creator Son, the Universal Mother Spirit, and the Father Melchizedek. And their combination create all the order of the Melchizedek.
As far as linear time, where each Melchizedek came into existence at different times or all at once?
Well, I think it took a whole millennium for all of them to be created,
Okay.
Rodney. So in essence, they probably in succession, more than likely. Okay? All right. Millie, would you take the next one?
In the universe of Nebadon, the Father Melchizedek acts as the first executive associate of the bright and morning star. Gabriel is occupied more with universe policies, Melchizedek with the practical procedures. Gabriel presides over the regularly constituted tribunals and councils of Nebadon, Melchizedek over the special, extraordinary, and emergency commissions and advisory bodies. Gabriel and the Father Melchizedek are never away from Salvington at the same time, for in Gabriel's absence, the father Melchizedek functions as the chief executive of Nebadon.
So if Gabriel has to be away, the father Melchizedek can step in and take over, right, as chief executive. Now this is interesting that the Gabriel is occupied with more policies and more like a figurehead, right, and Melchizedek does the emergency commissions and advisory bodies. He gets more down in the nitty-gritty of running the universe, right? Okay, so he's very important.
Hey, Roger,
Yeah,
maybe you stated this before because I was late. I didn't hear it, but I've forgotten, where did the original Father Melchizedek, how was he created?
he's a creation of the Creator Son and the local universe Mother Spirit, Rodney. He's the second being to be created. The first being
Okay, 'cause
being Gabriel.
said
Yeah.
Father Melchizedek,
Right.
right?
Well, actually, he's not the second. That's incorrect. The bright morning star and I believe the evening stars are created. Gabriel's support people or beings are created, and then Father Melchizedek is created, if I remember correctly. Okay. So he's the second executive to be created, really. Okay.
The Melchizedeks of our, I'm sorry.
That's it.
The Melchizedeks of our universe were all created within one millennium
There it is.
period of standard time by the Creator Son and the Creative Spirit in liaison with the Father Melchizedek, being an order of sonship wherein one of their own number functioned as coordinate creator. Melchizedeks are in constitution partly of self-origin and therefore candidates for the realization of a supernal type of self-government. They periodically elect their own administrative chief for a term of 7 years of standard time and otherwise function as a self-regulating order, though the original Melchizedek does exercise certain inherent coperennial prerogatives. From time to time, this Father Melchizedek designates certain individuals of his order to function as special life carriers to the Mycenite worlds, a type of inhabited planet not heretofore revealed on Urantia.
So, the Father Melchizedek participates in with the life carriers in creating beings for the Mycenite worlds, not the human worlds, right? For that, the Ancients of Days does that. Okay, the Mycenite we will study a little bit later in the papers, so I'm not going to labor that too much more. Okay, and this is this shows Universal Mother Spirit, Creator Son, and the Father Melchizedek creating the whole host of the Melchizedeks. Okay, the Melchizedeks do not function extensively outside the local universe except when they are called as witnesses in matters pending before the tribunals of the superuniverse, and when designated special ambassadors, as they sometimes are, representing one universe to another in the same superuniverse. The original or firstborn Melchizedek of each universe is always at liberty to journey to the neighboring universes or to paradise on missions having to do with the interests and duties of his orders. So he is the only one that can travel to paradise from our local universe, okay, and to other universes having to do with the business of the Melchizedeks. Okay, Rodney.
Okay. Number 2, the Melchizedek sons. The Melchizedeks are the first order of divine sons to approach sufficiently near the lower creature life to be able to function directly in the ministry of mortal uplift, to serve the evolutionary races without the necessity of incarnation. These sons are naturally at the midpoint of the great personality descent, by origin being just about midway between the highest divinity and the lowest creature life of will endowment. They thus become the natural intermediaries between the higher and divine levels of living existence and the lower, even the material forms of life on the evolutionary worlds. The seraphic orders, the angels, delight to work with the Melchizedeks. In fact, all forms of intelligent life find in these sons understanding friends, sympathetic teachers, and wise counselors.
And that's who counseled Abraham, remember? And remember, these sons we're studying tonight are all descending sons of God. They're local universe descending sons. They start at a certain point, the head of our local universe, and go down to human levels to help us, to work with us, to bring us along. Where we are what? Ascending sons of God, because we're ascending to paradise eventually. Okay? So the descending sons help train us and bring us along and prepare us for this ascension career. Okay? And that's what all these ascending sons of God do. All right, Millie.
The Melchizedeks are a self-governing order. With this unique group, we encounter the first attempt at self-determination on the part of local universe beings and observe the highest type of true self-government. These sons organize their own machinery for their group and home planet administration, as well as that for the 6 associated spheres and their tributary worlds. And it should be recorded that they have never abused their prerogatives. Turn the page. Not once throughout all of the super universe of Orvanton have these Melchizedek sons ever betrayed their trust. They are the hope of every universe group which aspires to self-government. They are the pattern and the teachers of self-government to all the spheres of Nebadon. All orders of intelligent beings, superior from above and subordinate from below, are wholehearted in their praise of the government of the Melchizedeks.
Okay, and the Melchizedeks have never defaulted, right? That's why they have the privilege of self-government too. Okay?
Were they here when we had the Lucifer Rebellion?
Yes, they were. Actually, we're going to find out a little bit later, Millie, that it was the Melchizedeks that stepped in and took over. 12 of them took over when Calagassa defaulted. Okay?
I remember that Father Melchizedek did, but I don't remember that the rest of them were there too.
Yeah. There's a group of 12 Melchizedeks that came to the planet upon the default of Calagassa to help organize and keep the planet going, basically, until we get straightened out. And the Melchizedeks are still on this planet. We don't see them, but they're still here for the administration of this planet.
And didn't they come also with when Adam and Eve?
They were here for Adam and Eve too. Actually, they relented their control to Adam and Eve
Right, and
until
that
the
became
default of Adam and Eve also. So they've been around as an order quite some time. Okay, and remember we had our own Melchizedek that appeared as a full-grown man and taught Abraham and his group, right? So, okay. It's interesting, let me say this before we go on. People don't realize this, that all religions, including the Jews, the Christians, the Gentiles, the Muslims, everyone originated from the teachings of Melchizedek during the times of Abraham. Okay? So all religions was the outshooting of the concepts that Melchizedek taught Abraham. Okay, all of them. All right, so that's where that's the beginning point before we all went in diverse directions. Okay? All right, let's keep going.
The Melchizedek order of sonship occupies the position and assumes the responsibility of the eldest son in a large family. Most of their work is regular and somewhat routine, but much of it is voluntary and altogether self-imposed. A majority of the special assemblies which, from time to time, convene on Salveton are called on motion of the Melchizedeks. On their own initiative, these sons patrol their native universe. They maintain an autonomous organization devoted to universe intelligence, making periodical reports to the Creator Son, independent of all information coming up to universe headquarters through the regular agencies concerned with the routine administrations of the realm. They are by nature unprejudiced observers. They have the full confidence of all classes of intelligent beings.
Remember that one of the 7 local universe circuits is the intelligence circuit? Remember that? This is part of that. It's the intelligence circuit of the Melchizedeks. They communicate directly with the Creator Son without interfere from anyone. Okay? So they are his eyes and ears in many times, in many universes, in many planets. The Melchizedeks function as mobile and advisory review courts of the realms. These universe sons go in small groups to the worlds to serve as advisory commissions, to take depositions, to receive suggestions, and to act as counselors, thus helping to compose the major difficulties and settle the serious differences which arise from time to time in the affairs of the evolutionary domains. Okay? Rodney.
These eldest sons of the universe are the chief aides of the bright and morning star in carrying out the mandates of the Creator's Son. When a Melchizedek goes to a remote world in the name of Gabriel, he may, for the purpose of that particular mission, be deputized in the name of the sender, and, in that event, will appear on the planet of assignment with the full authority of the bright morning star. Especially is this true in those spheres where a higher sun has not yet appeared in the likeness of the creatures of the realm.
So we know Gabriel is the bright morning star, right? And he is the chief of all the angels and all the armies of heaven. So when this Melchizedek goes out to these remote worlds, he has the authority of Gabriel himself, right? He speaks for Gabriel, just as if he was there. Okay? Millie.
When a Creator's Son enters upon the bestowal career on an evolutionary world, he goes alone. But when one of his paradise brothers, an Avondal's son, enters upon a bestowal, he is accompanied by the Melchizedek supporters, 12 in number, who so efficiently contribute to the success of the bestowal mission. They also support the Paradise Avondals on magisterial missions to the inhabited worlds, and in these assignments the Melchizedeks are visible to mortal eyes if the Avondal Son is also thus manifest.
This must be very impressive when a Avondal son comes and appears before man, right? And he comes with 12 other Melchizedeks who also appear before man as full-grown beings, not being born, but as full-grown beings, right? Manifesting themselves.
Now, is this what normally happens on a planet, or is this yet to happen to ours?
No, this is what may normally happen to every planet, Rodney, sooner or later. And it will probably, we will have a magisterial son appear on this planet sooner or later, along with a Trinity teacher son. But I don't expect it anyway soon because of the barbarianism in this planet. We have not learned how to control ourselves yet. We have not learned how to stop being barbarians, stop killing each other and start living with each other. Okay? And we're constantly going through these spiritual battles with each other over nonsensical things,
So
And
Michael may come back before then?
Michael may come back before then. You never know when the Creator Son may appear, right? And when he does, it will be in power and glory. It won't be like a little weak being just showing up and say, "Hi guys, I'm here." He will come with the full authority of Michael, Father of our universe, right? So, and I'm sure if and when that happens, if we're still alive, every being on the planet will know that, right? And but the Melchizedeks, along with all the other hosts, are working to try to help us straighten ourselves out, so that we can prepare ourselves for these spiritual benefits. Okay, and this is a slide of an Avondal son on a bestowal mission, and Also, you can see the 12 Melchizedeks that accompany him. That's why they look like M's, right? All right. All right, now I've lost who's up. I think you are there.
Yeah, okay. There is no phase of planetary spiritual need to which they do not minister. They are the teachers who so often win whole worlds of advanced life to the final and full recognition of the Creator Son and His Paradise Father.
Isn't this interesting? They have the same job that Christ had, and yet we were so stupid we did not recognize the Son of God when He was on our planet. How could we not do that? You know? And we've gone on for 2,000 more years, and we still don't recognize the Father of our local universe, Christ Michael. You know? So it's kind of interesting. We're slow to learn. The Melchizedeks are well nigh perfect in wisdom, but they are not infallible in judgment. When detached and alone or on planetary missions, they have sometimes erred in minor matters. That is, they have elected to do certain things which their supervisors would not subsequently approve. Such an error of judgment temporarily disqualifies a Melchizedek until he goes to Salvington and, in audience with the Creator Son, receives that instruction which effectually purges him of disharmony, which causes disagreement with his fellows, and then, following the correctional rest, reinstatement to service issues on the third day. But these minor misadaptations in Melchizedek function have rarely occurred in Nebadon. Is this considered rebellion? No. They made an error in judgment, right? So they go to Michael, they're retrained, and then they go back to work. Okay?
I wonder how, what minor is, a good example.
I don't know, probably some disagreement with a local, somebody like Caligas or a planetary prince or something like that, that came up, they thought went against them, or they didn't agree with them, or something along that manner, more than likely. So, all right.
These sons are not in increasing order. Their number is stationary, although varying in each local universe. The number of Melchizedeks of record on their headquarters planet in Nebadon is upward of 10 million.
All right, y'all think about this. There's 10 million inhabited worlds. There will be 10 million inhabited worlds in the local universe of Nebadon, right? So there's one for every single planet, isn't there? At least.
10 million.
All right. Millie. Turn your mic back on, Millie.
Yeah, there's one for each one.
I'm just reading away. Number 3, the Melchizedek worlds. The Melchizedeks occupy a world of their own near Salvington, the universe headquarters. This sphere, by name Melchizedek, is the pilot world of the Salvington circuit of 70 primary spheres, each of which is encircled by 6 tributary spheres devoted to specialized activities. These marvelous spheres, 70 primary and 420 tributary, are often spoken of as the Melchizedek University, attending mortals from all... I'm sorry, what?
Ascending.
Ascending mortals.
Go on, Millie. You got it.
Ascending mortals from all the constellations of Nebadon pass through training on all 490 worlds in the acquirement of residential status on Salvington. But the education of ascenders is only one phase of the manifold activities taking place on the Salvington cluster of architectural spheres.
Okay, remember when we studied Salvington, there were 490 worlds that surround it, and we'll visit each one? That's what they're talking about here, okay?
The Melchizedek University.
That's right. And this is the Melchizedek's world of their own near Salvington, the universe headquarters. And the name of the sphere is, what do you think?
Melchizedek.
That's right.
So, a world near Salvington. Okay.
All right. All right. This is a picture of where we go. You start out on Earth, you go to Jerusalem, our local system headquarters, right? Then to Dentia, the Constellation headquarters, and eventually we end up on Salvington. We go to go through these worlds, right? In Salvington.
Roger,
Little road map there.
when Rodney clicked in, you froze. So I'm not seeing any of these pictures that you're showing.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me stop and restart my video and see if that helps. Okay. See if it pops back here in a minute.
Yeah. Well, it's a different.
It's a different frozen picture.
It's a what?
You're
It's
still
a frozen
moving.
picture, but it's different.
Okay, I can redial both of y'all. Let me do that, 'cause I don't like to do that a lot, but I will. Let me redial everybody. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Let's see if it gives us a picture here in a minute. Now.
You're moving.
It's good. You're moving. I see
Okay.
you. Yeah, and I see the worlds behind you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's the Melchizedek sphere right there.
That's it. Now let me mention this while we're talking about it too. At home, all these slides that you see behind me are, there's a link on the website for the slides on each lesson. So please download them, take a look at them, study them. You'll get a lot of information from the pictures. You can't get up that high, you crazy kitty.
You almost made it. There it goes.
He's going after that piece of tape on the wall. Okay. I believe you're up there.
Okay. The 490 spheres of the Salvington Circuit are divided into 10 groups, each containing 7 primary and 42 tributary spheres. Each of these groups is under the general supervision of some one of the major orders of universe life. The first group, embracing the pilot world and the next 6 primary spheres in the encircling planetary procession, is under the supervision of the Melchizedeks. These Melchizedek worlds are
The pilot world, the home of the Melchizedek sons. 2. The world of the physical life schools and the laboratories of living energies. 3. The world of Morancha life. That's the next type of existence we are going to be in when we hit the mansion worlds. 4. The sphere of initial spirit life. Remember, before we leave Salvington, we're first stage spirits, and this is where we get our training. The world of the mid-spirit life. The sphere of advancing spirit life. And 7, the domain of coordinate and supreme self-realization. So this is our preparation zone or area that surrounds Salvington before we're certified to go on as first stage spirits. And when we get certified and get ready to go on, we stand before Michael and get our papers, right? And that's where we expect to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," right? Okay, and that'll put us in the first stage spirits. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
All right. The 6 tributary worlds of each of these Melchizedek spheres are devoted to activities germane to the work of the associated primary sphere.
So each of the tributaries have something to do with the work on the main one, right? Okay. Millie.
Got it. The pilot world, the sphere of Melchizedek, is the common meeting ground for all beginnings,
All beings.
beings who are engaged in educating and spiritualizing and ascending mortals of time and space. To an ascender, this world is probably the most interesting place in all Nebadon. All evolutionary mortals who graduate from the constellation training are destined to land on Melchizedek, where they are initiated into the regime of the disciplines and spirit progression of the Salvington educational system. And never will you forget your reactions to the first day of life on this unique world. Not even after you have reached your paradise destination. I can believe that.
I can
Boy,
believe that too.
I was excited just reading about those worlds and coming up to the seventh one,
Yeah,
supreme self-realization. I said, oh yeah, now we get to see Jesus.
yeah. The goal has been met, right?
It's if it's going to happen tomorrow, you know.
Yeah,
It's-
really. Sweetie?
Ascending mortals maintain residence on the Melchizedek world while pursuing their training on the 6 encircling planets of specialized education, and this same method is adhered to throughout their sojourn on the 70 cultural worlds, the primary spheres of the Salvington Circuit.
You know, this world must be humongous. All the beings that are residents, that must be resident there, you know, passing through. You know. So if you don't like school, you're going to be disappointed in the future, right? Okay, and this is a picture of the Melchizedek worlds and the tributaries, 1 through 7, and the 42 spheres. Okay. Many diverse activities occupy the time of the numerous beings who reside on the 6 tributary worlds of the Melchizedek sphere. But as concerns the ascending mortals, these satellites are devoted to the following special phases of study. Rodney, would you take the first one?
Number 1, the sphere number 1 is occupied with the review of the initial planetary life of the ascending mortals. This work is carried on in classes composed of those who hail from a given world of mortal origin. Those from Uracha pursue such an experiential review together.
So the first thing we do is review our life on Earth. All over again, all together. Remember defending your life?
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe like that. You know? All right. Millie, would you take the next one?
2. The special work of sphere number 2 consists in a similar review of the experiences passed through on the mansion worlds encircling the premier satellite of the local system headquarters.
So you review your whole period as on the mansion worlds, right? Just like you did your life in the flesh. All right?
It's a lot longer.
Yeah, a lot longer.
3. The reviews of this sphere pertain to the sojourn on the capital of the local system and embrace the activities of the remainder of the architectural worlds of the system headquarters cluster.
You notice how it just goes in succession, just like you experience it? Okay? And probably you go through these reviews because this is a long period of time between each one of these. So it's good to review what you've gone through in the past to keep it fresh in your memory, right? 4. The 4th sphere is occupied with the review of the experiences of the 70 tributary worlds of the constellation and their associated spheres. All right? Rodney.
Number 5, on the 5th sphere, there is conducted the review of the ascendant sojourn on the constellation headquarters world.
So this is the pathway on your way to Salvington, isn't it? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Millie.
6. The time on sphere number 6 is devoted to an attempt to correlate these 5 epochs and thus achieve coordination of experience preparatory to entering the Melchizedek Primary School of Universe Training.
Okay, and that's the stepping off point, isn't it, to the spirit worlds, right? To our spirit training. All right.
The schools of universe administration and spiritual wisdom are located on the Melchizedek homeworld, where also are to be found those schools devoted to a single line of research, such as energy, matter, organization, communication, records, ethics, and comparative creature existence.
So you can experience every type of knowledge you can imagine all these worlds, can't you? In the Melchizedek College of Spiritual Endowment, all orders, even the Paradise orders of the Sons of God, cooperate with the Melchizedek and the Seraphic teachers in training the hosts who go forth as evangels of destiny, proclaiming spiritual liberty and divine sonship, even to the remote worlds of the universe. This particular school of the Melchizedek University is an exclusive universe institution. Student visitors are not received from other realms. Now, why do you think that might be? This is because this Melchizedek method is taught to the local universe inhabitants, okay? And this is how we learn how to evangelize. Notice this, going forth as evangels of destiny. This is how we learn to evangelize the whole universe to spiritual liberty and divine sonship. We teach other people about what? The fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. Just exactly what Jesus came to teach us, right? And they teach us how to do this. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one?
The highest course of training in universe administration is given by the Melchizedeks on their own world. This college of high ethics is presided over by the original Father Melchizedek. It is to these schools that the various universes send exchange students, while the young universe of Nebadon stands low in the scale of universes as regards spiritual achievement and high ethical development. Nevertheless, our administrative troubles have so turned the whole universe into a vast clinic for other nearby creations that the Melchizedek colleges are thronged with student visitors and observers from other realms. Besides the immense group of local registrants, there are always upward of 100,000 foreign students in attendance upon the Melchizedek schools. For the order of Melchizedeks in Nebadon is renowned throughout all splendor.
Okay, so let's think about this for a minute. Our Creator Son has allowed spiritual freedom, free will to reign in this local universe. And by doing this, he takes the chance of people rebelling and beings rebelling, doesn't he? But this experience, by allowing people this freedom to make their own choice and have free will, number one, throughout this local universe, we gain experience that other local universes does not gain. Okay? And that's why it makes it so interesting to other universes. Because they see us struggling through all these problems, and we learn from these struggles. So we become much more valuable to the super universe as beings. Okay? And that's what they're talking about here.
So, Roger,
Yeah.
are you saying that we are one of only a few local universes that have free will?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But
Okay.
we are one of the few local universes that our Creator Son has allowed a vast freedom of choice in, probably more than some of the other universes. In other words, he will allow us to go at greater lengths to make personal will changes, which may create problems to start out with. In many other universes, this is probably not allowed as freely as we are, is what I'm saying. Okay? Makes
What
sense?
I got from that paper was that the rest of the universes are learning from us being that example.
That's right, they are. They are. And it's not that we're that much of a bad example, Millie. It's that we have come back from a rebellion-based, well, at least our local system has come from a rebellion-based career. So we have influences that are not very good at times. And so we have to teach ourselves how to come into a line with the will of the Father more, right, than some of the other universes. It's probably easier for them, really. Okay? And who's up? Did Rodney? Rodney, did you just read, or?
I did.
Okay. Millie, would you take the next one?
Number 4, special work of the Melchizedeks. A highly specialized branch of Melchizedek activities has to do with the supervision of the progressive Maracha career of the ascending mortals. Much of this training is conducted by the patient and wise seraphic ministers, assisted by mortals who have ascended to relatively higher levels of universe attainment. but all of this educational work is under the general supervision of the Melchizedeks in association with the Trinity Teacher Sons.
Okay, so notice how the Melchizedeks continue to help us even as we get to our Morancha career. Okay, and the Seraphic ministries. We can't forget that either. But all of these are done as in association with the Melchizedeks under the Trinity Teacher Sons, which is our next level. Okay.
While the Melchizedek orders are chiefly devoted to the vast educational system and experiential training regime of the local universe, they also function in unique assignments and in unusual circumstances. In an evolving universe eventually embracing approximately 10 million inhabited worlds, many things out of the ordinary are destined to happen, and it is in such emergencies that the Melchizedeks act. On Adentia, your constellation headquarters, they are known as emergency sons. They are always ready to serve in all existences, physical, intellectual, or spiritual, whether on a planet, in a system, in a constellation, or in the universe. Whenever and wherever special help is needed, there you will find one or more of the Melchizedek sons.
So they're the Superman of the universe, aren't they? They step
Basically,
in
yeah, they are.
and help us out in spiritual, physical, or intellectual problems, right? Okay. When failure in some feature of the Creator-Son plan is threatened, forthwith will go a Melchizedek to render assistance. But not often are they summons to function in the presence of sinful rebellion, such as occurred in Satania, right? And that happened in our planet, right? Okay, Rodney.
The Melchizedeks are the first to act in all areas of whatever nature on all worlds where will creatures dwell. They sometimes act as temporary custodians on wayward planets, serving as receivers of a defaulting planetary government. In a planetary crisis, these Melchizedek sons serve in many unique capacities. It is easily possible for such a son to make himself visible to mortal beings, and sometimes one of this order has even incarnated in the likeness of mortal flesh. 7 times in Nebadon has a Melchizedek served on an evolutionary world in the similitude of mortal flesh, and on numerous occasions these sons have appeared in the likeness of other orders of universe creatures. They are indeed the versatile and volunteer emergency ministers to all orders of universe intelligences and to all the worlds and system of worlds.
And this is exactly what happened on our planet, wasn't it? They were receivers of the defaulted planetary government, Calagasta, and then again for Adam, didn't they? And one of the incarnations as a Melchizedek into mortal flesh happened also. Our records of Melchizedek in the Old Testament, this is what happened, right? Millie, take the next one.
The Melchizedek who lived on Uracha during the time of Abraham was locally known as Prince of Salem because he presided over a small colony of truth seekers residing at a place called Salem. He volunteered to incarnate in the likeness of mortal flesh and did so with the approval of the Melchizedek receivers of the planet, who feared that the light of life would become extinguished during that period of increasing spiritual darkness. And he did foster the truth of his day and safely passed it on to Abraham and his associates.
Okay, and what did Salem turn into? Jerusalem. That's right, that's right. And it all started here with Melchizedek. Okay? This is where all the religions started with the concept of one God. Okay.
5. The Verondadek sons. After the creation of the personal aids in the first group of the versatile Melchizedeks, the Creator Son and the local universe creative spirit planned for and brought into existence the second great and diverse order of universe sonship, the Adirondacks. They are more generally known as constellation fathers because a son of this order is uniformly found at the head of each constellation government in every local universe.
So this is the next order down of sonship, the Adirondacks, right? And they are the constellation fathers, okay? And they are created by the universe mother spirit, the creator son, created the whole order of Adirondacks, all right? The number of Adirondacks varies in each local universe, just 1 million being the recorded number in Nebadon. These sons, like their coordinates, the Melchizedeks, possess no power of reproduction. There exists no known method whereby they can increase their numbers, right? Lest the creator son created mother spirits decide they need more, right? Rodney.
So apparently, just like the Melchizedeks, once they are created,
That's it.
they're infinite,
That's right. That's it.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay. There was a time when they did not exist.
that's right. Yeah.
In many respects, these sons are a self-governing body, as individuals and as groups, even as a whole. They are largely self-determinative, much as are the Melchizedeks. But the Adirondacks do not function through such a wide range of activities. They do not equal their Melchizedek brethren in brilliant versatility, but they are even more reliable and efficient as rulers and far-seeing administrators. Neither are they quite the administrative peers of their subordinates, the Leonidic system sovereigns, but they excel all orders of universe sonship and stability of purpose and in divinity of judgment.
So they're specialized beings, aren't they? That's why they're constellation fathers. They're administrators, they administer the constellations, the higher level. The Most Highs is what they are called, right? All right. Oops, skipped over one. Millie.
Although the decisions and rulings of this order of sons are always in accordance with the spirit of divine sonship and in harmony with the policies of the Creator Son, they have been cited for error to the Creator Son, and in details of technique, their decisions have sometimes been reversed on appeal to the superior tribunals of the universe. But these sons rarely fall into error, and they have never gone into rebellion. Never in all of history of Nebadon has a Adirondacks been found in contempt of the universe government.
So they have made errors in judgment, but never rebellion, right? All right.
The service of the Adirondacks in the local universes is extensive and varied. They serve as ambassadors to other universes and as councils representing constellations within their native universe. Of all orders of local universe sonship, they are the most often entrusted with the full delegation of sovereign powers to be exercised in critical universe situations.
Kind of sounds like Spock, right?
Yeah.
Spock, Spockish, yeah.
Great word.
Kind of Spockish. All right. On those worlds segregated in spiritual darkness, those spheres which have, through rebellion and default, suffered planetary isolation, an observer Adirondacks is usually present pending the restoration of normal status. In certain emergencies, this Most High Observer would exercise absolute and arbitrary authority over every celestial being assigned to that planet. It is on record on Salvington that the Adirondacks have sometimes exercised such authority as Most High Regents of such planets, and this has also been true even of inhabited planets that were untouched by rebellion. This is what happened to us, right? All right. Rodney.
Often a core of 12 or more Adirondacks sons sits in bank
Yeah. That's
as a high court of review and appeal concerning special cases involving the status of a planet or a system. But their work more largely pertains to the legislative functions indigenous to the constellation governments. As a result of all these services, the Veronadic sons have become the historians of the local universes. They are personally familiar with all the political struggles and the social upheavals of the inhabited worlds.
Okay, so when an appeal was sent to the Most Highs of the government on this planet, when Kalakastia went to rebellion, this is what happened when the universe circuit got cut off. The reply message was stranded, right? That was a decision. A decision that got stranded was one of Veronadek's sons, the Most Highs. Okay, the Constellation Fathers. Millie, would you take this one?
6. The Constellation Fathers. At least 3 Veronadics are assigned to the rulership of each of the 100 constellations of a local universe. These sons are selected by the Creator's Son and are commissioned by Gabriel as the Most Highs of the constellation for service during 1 decamillennium, 10,000 standard years, or about 50,000 years of Urantia time. The reigning Most High, I'm glad they said they put both standard time and Urantia time.
Yeah, the standard time is the Salvington time, right?
When they say standard time, they mean their time.
Right,
And
right.
it's not our time.
right.
The reigning Most High, the Constellation Father, has 2 associates, a senior and a junior. At each change of administration, the senior associate becomes the head of the government. The junior assumes the duties of the senior, while the unassigned Veronadics resident on the Salvington worlds nominate one of their number as candidate for selection to assume the responsibility of junior associate. Thus, each of the Most High rulers, in accordance with present policy, has a period of service on the headquarters of the constellation of 3 decamillenniums, about 150,000 Urantia years.
How would you like to be a junior associate for 50,000 years?
Oh,
A lot of training,
A lot of training. Yep. All right.
lots of patience.
Yep.
lots of patience. Yeah.
Really.
The 100 Constellation Fathers, the actual presiding heads of the constellation governments, constitute the Supreme Advisory Cabinet of the Creator's Son. This council is in frequent session at universe headquarters and is unlimited in the scope and range of its deliberations, but is chiefly concerned with the welfare of the constellations and with the unification of the administration of the entire local universe.
You see how the Michael sons delegate the control of their domain to the Constellation Fathers, down through from the Constellation Fathers down to the system sovereigns and to the planetary princes, right? He gives them as much authority as possible. Okay, when a Constellation Father is attendant upon duties at the universe headquarters, as he frequently is, the senior associate becomes acting director of constellation affairs. The normal function of the senior associate is the oversight of spiritual affairs, while the junior associate is personally occupied with the physical welfare of the constellation. No major policy, however, is ever carried out in a constellation unless all 3 of the Most Highs are agreed upon in the details of its execution. So no decision is made without all 3 of the Most Highs deciding. You okay, sweetie? All right. Right.
The Most Highs are mentioned in the Bible.
Yes, they are. You know, it's interesting that Melchizedek referred many times to the Most Highs. You remember that in the Old Testament? And this is what he was talking about, the Most Highs of the constellation. They all answer to the Most Highs, right? He was known as the Prince of El Elyon, right? The Most Highs. Okay? All right. Rodney.
Interesting. The entire mechanism of spirit intelligence and communication channels is at the disposal of the constellation Most Highs. They are in perfect touch with their superiors on Salvington and with their direct subordinates, the sovereigns of the local systems. They frequently convene in council with these system sovereigns to deliberate on the state of the constellation.
Okay, so they keep in touch with the system sovereign. You see the pecking order? The Most Highs, the system sovereigns, and the what? Planetary princes, right? It's the pecking order. Millie.
Yeah. The Most Highs surround themselves with a corps of counselors, which varies in number and personnel from time to time in accordance with the presence of the various groups at Constellation headquarters, and also as the local requirements vary. During times of stress, they may ask for and will quickly receive additional sons of the Verandadak order to assist with the administrative work. Relatiadak, your own constellation, is at present administered by 12 Verandadak sons.
So we have 12 Verandadak sons that administer our own local constellation in Relatiadak, right? And we know there's 100 constellations in our local universe, right? All right. Sweet.
7. The Verandadak worlds, the second group of 7 worlds in the circuit of 70 primary spheres surrounding Salvington, comprise of Verandadak planets. Each of these spheres, with its 6 encircling satellites, is devoted to a special phase of Verandadak activities. On these 49 realms, the ascending mortals secure the acme of their education respecting universe legislation.
Okay, so this is our training ground. We actually learn from these beings about administration of the local universe. And this is an illustration of the worlds of the Verandadaks. As ascending mortals has observed the legislative assemblies as they function on the headquartered worlds of the constellations. But here on these Verandadak worlds, they participate in the enactment of the actual general legislation of the local universe under the tutelage of the senior Verandadaks. Such enactments are designed to coordinate the very pronouncements of the autonomous legislative assemblies of the 100 constellations. The instruction to be had in the Verandadak schools is unexcelled even on Uversa, our super universe headquarters, right? This training is representative extended from the first sphere with supplemental work on its 6 satellites on up through the remaining 6 primary spheres and their associated satellite groups. Are y'all getting the feel for why it takes so long to go through our local universe and before we go on to paradise? Quite a trip. Okay, and this is a illustration of the 7 Verandadak worlds and mortals observing in all the worlds and the spheres surrounding them. Okay.
Salvington is huge.
Yeah, we have to go through every single one of them. All right.
So it's probably quite the same with all universes.
It is probably, Rodney. This is one of the things that Lucifer had problems with all this extensive training, right? All right. And Tim Brock just came on. Let me see if he'd like to join us. Tim's a reader that's going to be joining us soon. Let me see if he would like to join us or not. He may be busy. Let's see if he answers. Give him a minute. He's new to Skype, so he may not realize he might not even know it's on.
You may not know to call you.
He may not. Hey, Tim, are you out there? Can you hear us, Tim? we thought we'd see if you'd like to join the remaining of the meeting, because I just saw you pop up there. We can't hear your microphone though. You need to unmute your microphone. It'd be at the bottom of the black screen, or the screen that's in front of you. There should be a little thing that looks like a microphone. It's probably got a little arrow through it. Just click on it and it'll unmute your mic. You there? No,
Didn't see that green light.
didn't see it. Can't hear us. We can't hear him, can we? He may not be able to hear us either. I'm
What
not
if
sure.
you call us back?
Pardon me?
What if you call all of us back?
I don't know if that'd make a difference or not. Tim probably, he's new to Skype, he's probably just figuring out how to use everything. Tim, if you can hear me, if you take your mouse down near the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little line. It's got a camera, a microphone, a plus, and a red phone, which you hang up with. So if you click on the one that looks like a microphone, it'll turn your mic on. I don't think so. Well, I'll just leave him on in case he wants to listen. Okay. I'll always sign off if he doesn't. Who's up?
I am.
Rodney, you want to take the next one?
The ascending pilgrims will be introduced to numerous new activities on these worlds of study and practical work. We are not forbidden to undertake the revelation of these new and undreamed of pursuits, but we despair of being able to portray these undertakings to the material mind of mortal beings. We are without words to convey the meanings of these supernal activities, and there are no, and how do you pronounce that word?
Analogs?
Analogs?
No.
Analogous.
Analogous.
Analogous
Yeah.
human engagements which might be utilized as illustrations of these new occupations of the ascending mortals as they pursue their studies on these 49 worlds, and many other activities not a part of the ascendant regime are centered on these Veronica worlds of Salenton, of the Salenton circuit.
So there's many things we're going to learn on these worlds. Some of them having to do with administration, and some of them not, right? So it's a well-rounded education. All right. Millie, the Lenonendeck signs.
Yes. The Lenonendeck sons, number 8. After the creation of the Rondedex, the Creator Son and the Universe Mother Spirit unite for the purpose of bringing into existence the third order of universe sonship, the Lenonendeck sons. Although occupied with various tasks connected with the system administrations, they are best known as system sovereigns, the rulers of the local systems, and the planetary princes, the administrative heads of the inhabited worlds.
Okay. Now remember, Lucifer and Satan were primary Lenonendeck sons. Okay. Calagasta was a secondary Lenonendeck son. Okay, and we're going to learn about all three of these. Okay, so the Lenonendeck sons are created by the Universe Mother Spirit and the Creator Son, the whole group of them. Okay, did I say Lenonendeck? Yeah, instead of Verondedeck. Okay, sweetie, you want to take the next one?
It seems to me that for a long time we mispronounced one of these.
I know, and I still do it occasionally. I can't even remember how I was pronouncing it before.
Well, I've listened to what's his name on the tapes, and he says it the way I say it, and
Yeah.
That's good enough for me.
That's the only way I know to say it, Millie. And who was it? Lee used to correct me all the time.
All the time, yeah.
But that's the way I've heard it said over and over and over and over again. So
Yeah, I just try to stay with Meredith Horns.
yeah, I trust Meredith's pronunciation.
Yeah.
You know, every time I listen to Meredith, it kind of sounds like I'm listening to God the Father or something. You know, it really does. Okay, go ahead, dear.
Being latter and lower as concerns divinity levels, order of sonship creation, these beings were required to pass through certain courses of training on the Melchizedek worlds in preparation for subsequent service. They were the first students in the Melchizedek University and were classified and certified by their Melchizedek teachers and examiners according to ability, personality, and attainment.
So these beings go through extensive training with the Melchizedeks before they go out, right? The universe of Nebadon has its existence with
Began its
existence with exactly 12 million Lenonendex. And when they had passed through the Melchizedek sphere, they were divided into final test into 3 classes. I think I skipped over it. There we go. Rodney, would you take these classes?
Yes. Number 1, the primary Anandex. Of the highest rank, there were 709,841. These are the sons designated as system sovereigns and assistants to the supreme councils of the constellations and as counselors in the higher administrative work of the universe.
Okay, and this is what Satan and Lucifer were, right? Lucifer was a system sovereign. Satan was his first assistant, right? Okay, go on, Rodney.
2 secondary Anandex. Of this order emerging from Melchizedek, there were 10,234,601. They are assigned as planetary princes and to the reserves of that order.
And this is the order of whom? Calagasta, right? Okay, go on, Rodney.
And that's because there's 10 million worlds.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And a few to spare.
Few to spare. And it's a good thing because like in our planet, they had to have a replacement, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And number 3, tertiary. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Tertiary Lenonendex.
Lenonendex. This group contained 1,055,558. These sons function as subordinate assistants, messengers, custodians, commissioners, observers, and prosecute the miscellaneous duties of a system and its component worlds.
Okay, and these aren't just, when they say custodians and commissioners and stuff, these aren't unimportant matters that they handle. These are very important for the proper running of a local universe, a planet, or a system, right? Okay? And this is the 3 orders, the primary order, the secondary order, and the tertiary order. It's got a little blurb about each one with the slides, right? Okay? Millie, would you take the next one?
It is not possible, as it is with evolutionary beings, for these sons to progress from one group to another. When subjected to the Melchizedek training, when once tested and classified, they serve continuously in the rank assigned. Neither do these sons engage in reproduction. Their number in the universe is stationary.
Okay, so they are created for a specific function and they do not raise above that function, right? Not in the local universe age. That does not mean when we reach light and life, all 7 super universes, that these sons would not be allowed to start on a paradise ascension plan. We don't know that, right? That's why they talked about Lucifer saying that it wasn't fair that he was stuck in this position, basically. You know, he would have had that possibility later in the future, right? Okay.
In round numbers, the Lenonendex order of sons is classified on Salvington as follows.
Universe coordinators and constellation counselors, 100,000. System sovereigns and assistants, 600,000. That's 600 of the systems in our local universe, right? Out of, all right, planetary princes and reserves, 10 million. Now, why would that be? Because we got 10 million inhabited planets eventually in our local universe, right? Messenger Corps, 400,000. Custodians and recorders, 100,000. Reserve Corps, 800,000. That's the replacement guys for everything, right? Rodney.
Since the Nanodecks are a somewhat lower order of sonship than the Melchizedeks and the Veronidecks, they are of even greater service than the subordinate units of the universe, for they are capable of drawing nearer the lower creatures of the intelligent races. They also stand in greater danger of going astray, of departing from the acceptable technique of universal government. But these Nanodecks, especially the primary order, are the most able and versatile of all local universe administrators. In executive ability, they are excelled only by Gabriel and his unrevealed associates.
So even though they're a lot lower order, they're trained very well for their executive capabilities, right? So they're prepared for their job. All right, Millie.
Number 6, the Lananondeck rulers. The Lananondecks are the continuous rulers of the planets and the routine sovereigns of the systems. Such a sun now rules on Jerusalem, the headquarters of your local system of inhabited worlds.
All right, and that's Lena Forge, I believe. Yep.
The system sovereigns rule in commissions of 2 or 3 on the headquarters of each system of inhabited worlds. The Constellation Father names one of these Lananondek as chief every decamillennium. Sometimes no change in the head of the trio is made, the matter being entirely optional with the constellation rulers. System governments do not suddenly change in personnel unless a tragedy of some sort occurs.
And that's what happened in our local system, right? System sovereign. When system sovereigns or assistants are recalled, their places are filled by selections made by the Supreme Council located on the constellation headquarters from the reserves of that order, a group which is larger on Adentia than the average indicated. All right. So this is a illustration of that very thing. Okay, and it shows the constellation headquarters, the senior most highs, the constellation father, and the Supreme Lananondeck Council, and the junior most highs and the reserve corps. And what they do is if they have to replace someone, they choose someone to replace them, or a group of 3 to replace them, right? Skipped over something. The Supreme Lananondeck Councils are stationed on the various constellation headquarters. Such a body is presided over by the senior most high associate of the constellation father, while the junior associate supervise the reserves of the secondary order. Okay, Rodney?
Okay. The system sovereigns are true to their names. They are well nigh sovereign in the local affairs of the inhabited worlds. They are almost paternal in their direction of the planetary princes, the material sons, and the ministering spirits. The personal grasp of the sovereign is all but complete. These rulers are not supervised by Trinity observers from the central universe. They are the executive division of the local universe, and as custodians of the enforcement of legislative mandates, and as executives for the application of judicial verdicts. They present the one place in all universal administration Michael's son, could most easily and readily entrench itself and seek to assert itself.
Okay, so they do not have a Trinity observer, right? Because they're a system. Trinity's observers stop at where? The constellation level, not the system level. Remember, a system level, a system has 1,000 inhabited planets, normally. We have 619 at the writing of this narrative. So, when Lucifer decided to rebel, he was in charge of 619 planets, right? So under him was 619 planetary princes, okay? 39 of those planetary princes, or those planets, followed Lucifer into rebellion,
Oh,
okay? So that's why there's 700,000 Lenonidek sons that went into rebellion. Okay?
oh.
So that's a lot. Is it 700,000 or 7,000? Oh, it says here in a minute. We'll figure that out. Okay, Millie.
Our local universe has been unfortunate in that over 700 sons of
700 sons. I'm sorry. Yeah.
over 700 sons of the Lenonidek order have rebelled against the universe government, thus precipitating confusion in several systems and on numerous planets. Of this entire number of failures, only 3 were system sovereigns. Practically all of these sons belong to the second and third order, planetary princes and tertiary Lenonideks.
Okay, so just correct me. It's 700 sons of the Lenonidek order have rebelled. Okay, 3 of them were system sovereigns like Lucifer, right? The rest of them were planetary princes or the second or third order of in tertiary Lenonideks. Okay, so 700 have rebelled, not 700,000. Get my numbers messed up every now and then.
A lot of numbers here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sweetie?
the large number of these sons who have lapsed from integrity does not indicate any fault in creatorship. They could have been made divinely perfect, but they were so created that they might better understand and draw near to the evolutionary creatures dwelling on the worlds of time and space.
So Christ created these sons this way for our benefit, so that they would relate to us, right? As a ministry to us. Of all the local universe in Orvonton, our universe has, with the exception of Hinsalon, lost the largest number of this order of sons. On Uversa, our constellation headquarters, our super universe headquarters, it is this consensus that we have had so much administrative trouble in Nebadon because our sons of the Lenonidek order have been created with such a large degree of personal liberty in choosing and planning. I do not make this observation by way of criticism. The creator of our universe has full authority and power to do this. It is the contention of our high rulers that while such free choosing sons make excessive trouble in the earlier ages of the universe, when things are fully sifted and finally settled, the gains of higher loyalty and fuller volitional service on the part of these thoroughly tested sons will far more than compensate for the confusion and tribulations of the earlier times. So Christ created them with this large amount of authority and free will so that they can benefit in the future from it, and we can benefit in the future from it.
So what I get out of it is other creator sons don't give them as much liberty.
That's what I would get too, Rodney, from that. But he does that to benefit us, so that they're closer to us and relate to us better. All right, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Okay, in the event of rebellion on a system headquarters, a new sovereign is usually installed within a comparatively short time, but not so on the individual planets. They are the component units of the material creation, and creature solution of all such problems. Successor planetary princes are designated for isolated worlds, planets whose princes of authority may have gone astray, but they do not assume active rulership of such worlds until the results of insurrection are partially overcome and removed by the remedial measures adopted by the Melchizedeks and other ministering personalities. Rebellion by a planetary prince instantly isolates his planet. The local spiritual circuits are immediately severed. Only a bestowed sun can reestablish interplanetary lines of communication on such a spiritually isolated world.
Okay, there's several things about this. First, I want to talk about this final adjudication of all such problems. Okay, so the Most Highs can replace the system sovereigns, right? They cannot adjudicate the system sovereigns. They cannot adjudicate the planetary princes. All such matters have to be kicked up to the super universe courts and must be heard by the Ancients of Days. Okay? Why is that? Because the adjudication of such matters as rebellion carries with it the possibility of what? Creature extinction. Okay? And no creator son is allowed to sit in judgment against his own creator son, descending
I can
sons.
understand that.
Huh?
I can sure understand that.
That's only done on the super universe level, right? Another thing down here, it says only a bestowal son can reestablish interplanetary lines of communication on such a spiritually isolated worlds. So we have to get a bestowal son, such as a what? Magisterial son or a Trinity teacher son, to come to this planet to reestablish the lines of communication of the spirit circuits. You see that?
So there's only two that can do that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's only two that can do that besides Christ Michael himself.
And that would be again what?
An avonal or a dana.
Avonal or a Danal. Because Christ Michael could reestablish it himself, but it would only be if he returned to the planet, right? Okay. And this is a illustration of the rebellious Lenonondex, the rebellious planetary prince, right? And the rebellious Lenonondex after rehabilitation. They can be rehabilitated, okay, if they choose to. All right? And this is what we're going to talk about next. Right. Millie, would you take the next one?
There exists a plan for saving these wayward and unwise sons, and many have availed themselves of this merciful provision. But never again may they function in those positions wherein they defaulted. After rehabilitation, they are assigned to custodial duties and to departments of physical administration.
So they don't ever have anything to do with administering beings again. Okay, it's only physical administration of the planets. Right?
Period.
Because they defaulted in their trust. You understand that? So, and it's better than extinction, right?
So they have to live with that forever. Huh?
Forever, that's right.
Don't you think that they will be able to move up eventually?
Eventually they would, Millie, but they would have to wait till the whole universe is settled in light and life, probably. Okay, so that's a long way. It really is.
All of this is a long way.
Yes, all of it's a long way.
Requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, patience, and more patience. What's a doctor with no patience?
Not a word doctor. 10. The Lenonondeck worlds. The third group of 7 worlds in the Salvington circuit of 70 planets. with their respective 42 satellites, constitute the Lenonondeck cluster of administrative spheres. On these realms, the experienced Lenonondeck belonging to the ex-system sovereign corps officiate as administrative teachers of the ascending pilgrims and the seraphic host. The evolutionary mortals observe the system administrators at work on the system capitals, but here they participate in the actual coordination of the administrative pronouncements of the 10,000 local systems.
Okay, so after these systems, after system sovereigns and retire from their active area, they can go to these Lenonondeck training worlds and teach us administration. Okay, prepare us for the future. Okay, and this is the third group of the 7 worlds of this 70 planets. These administrative schools of the local universe are supervised by a corps of Lenonondeck sons who has had long experience as system sovereigns and as constellation counselors. These executive colleges are excelled only by the administrative schools of INSA. Okay, our minor sector. Notice here it says system sovereign. So Lucifer, if he would have been patient, he could have moved up and become one of these counselors in the schools, right? After he'd done a certain amount of service. But he was not willing to wait, was he? That's why he said, that's why Jesus told him that all these things, all these freedoms that he was asking for, he already had or were coming into the future, right? If he would have been patient. Rodney, can you take the next one?
While serving as training spheres for ascending mortals, the Lenonondeck worlds are the centers for extensive undertakings having to do with the normal and routine administrative operations of the universe. All the way into paradise, the ascending pilgrims pursue their studies in the practical schools of applied knowledge, actual training in really doing the things they are being taught. On-the-job training.
Yeah, on-the-job training.
The universe educational system, sponsored by the Melchizedeks, is practical, progressive, meaningful, and experiential. It embraces training in things material, intellectual, moral, and spiritual.
Okay. So that's what we have to look forward to. Okay? We get experience in all these things. And again, these are the worlds for the ascending mortals. You notice they're all numbered, and we'll go through each one of those also. We got lots of visiting to do, don't we? Millie. Turn your mic back on, Millie. We can hear you better.
Thank you. It is in connection with these administrative spheres of the Lenonondecks that most of the salvaged sons of that order serve as custodians and directors of planetary affairs. And these defaulting planetary princes and their associates in rebellion, who choose to accept the proffered rehabilitation, will continue to serve in these routine capacities at least until the universe of Nebadon is settled in light and life.
So that's their future.
That's what you said.
Yeah. If they're rehabilitated, right? All right.
Many of the Lenonondeck sons in the older systems, however, have established wonderful records of service, administration, and spiritual achievement. They are a noble, faithful, and loyal group, notwithstanding their tendency to fall into error through fallacies of personal liberty and fictions of self-determination. Sponsored by the Chief of Archangels, acting by authority of Gabriel Salvington.
Okay. So it says here at the end they put a little plug in for them saying that most of them are loyal, a loyal group, and they're faithful to their trust, right? Yeah, that's the normal part. Okay, and next time we will take paper 36, the life carriers. All right. That was a great paper. Hope you all enjoyed that. Rodney, would you like to say a little prayer for us to end off tonight?
All right. Heavenly Father, there's so much to be thankful for, and we're definitely thankful for your great love and for your mercy. We're thankful for our study group that you get to meet once a week. We're thankful for the time that Roger and Diane has put in for this study. And we ask for your wisdom and insight as we go our way. And hopefully we can explain the local Paradise Sun. Is that what we studied? The local universe sons of God. And in all things, may your will be done. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you for joining us at home. Please come see us again.